Well, the breeze from the east has been and gone, left its mark, and within a day, all the snow's gone. Is this the start of spring? It's time to sow the tomatoes, and this time we'll be sowing the Crimson Crush variety. You may recall last year that I grew these outside and had a fantastic crop. In fact, the tomato on the opening clip of the channel, that is a Crimson Crush. It does say on here that they are blight resistant, and just be clear that it is resistant and not blight free. These will still get blight in certain extreme cases, but most of the times they tend to fend it off. The compost I'm sowing in is Levington's F2 plus S with the added vermiculite. I've just filled the pot up, firmed it down, and I will give it a little water before I sow the seeds. In hindsight, I'd have probably been better off sowing these than just plain F2S, because the tomato seeds look very much like the vermiculite. But I think we should be alright. The packet says average seed content is 10, but I've probably got about 16, 17 out of here. So that's the seeds there, put on top of the damp compost. I'll just cover with the same mixture, F2S with vermiculite, and these will go into the heated propagator. We're about to sow the cucumbers, and this is a variety I've never grown before called Telegraph Improved. Compost is Levington's F2 plus S with added vermiculite. We've firmed the compost down. Now we'll just dampen the surface, let that settle before we start sowing the seeds. With the seeds being so large, they're quite easy to space out, and that's all you get in the packet, 8 seeds. I will be topping this up now with the same mix as below, F2S with vermiculite. There'll be about 10-12 millimetres of soil on the top, and then these will go into the propagator, and they'll like to germinate around 15 to 20 degrees. I'll give the top a light tamping down just to firm the soil against the seeds, and then one more last watering so that the seeds get full contact. Now that'll be going straight into the heated propagator. I'd like to say a special thank you to the people what left comments on my last video, in particular the feedback regarding the quality of the compost, the clover, which I'd referred to before. If you read some of the comments, there's quite a few mixed reviews, some saying yeah it's very good, and others saying that this year is a load of rubbish in it. There doesn't seem to be any consistency at all, and I've got 3 different varieties of compost here in the greenhouse now. I've got clover, some Levingtons, the F2S, and I've just bought some verve which I'm going to be using for sowing some potatoes in buckets. But I've had a quick scan on all the bags, and there doesn't seem to be anywhere marked any date identification at all. So maybe it'd be a good idea if the manufacturers at least put a date on the date when packed, and maybe also a best buy date, because then it would give us an idea how old the compost is we're actually using. I can understand that some of the small garden centres and clubs who do have to buy pallet loads of compost don't necessarily get rid of it all in 1 year, and that means it could be 2 or 3 years lying around if you're picking the bottom of the pallet up of that, which tell you exactly what you want, is it? It's an absolutely glorious day considering what we've had a few days ago. It's the 7th of March, time's moving on. I've still got 1.5 beds of Sarpo Mira in the centre there, so I might get the fork out and have a look what I can reveal. 30 litre bucket. As you can see, some of the potatoes are a decent size in there. There's Sarpo Mira, and it's the 7th of March, so I'm very happy with that. That's the middle bed all dug out now, and there's the results. Considering 3 days ago we was under snow, then we had a good 5 or 6 hours of heavy rainfall. They've come out quite well. The soil's a bit still claggy around them, but I think that once that dries off, it'll brush off quite easily. There's some huge potatoes in there, some as big as house bricks. I've still got another 4 rows of Sarpo to harvest in this bed behind here. But while I was looking at these, I was wondering, would it be cheeky if I claimed the first potato harvest of 2018? I was watching a recent upload of Terry King's, and from that I saw that I'd been tagged for answering the latest question, which is going around the hashtag your gardening disaster, and it come at a better time, to be honest. Going back to I don't know, it was the last video I put up or the one before, but just take a look at this to remind you. Well, the middle tray there's nothing at all, and that there is the Robinson's Mammoth onions. Looking on the seed box, I think they was around about 2014 the seed, so obviously they haven't kept too good, and I'll be throwing those out. So, but there's no loss. I've got plenty of other onions to get me going. Well, did you remember that? Well, let me tell you the story. That day, I was sowing a lot of different variety of onions, and for the filming purposes, I just set the camera up mainly on the tripod, let the camera run, and did a lot of sowing in one go. Then I put it in the editor and chop it up like that. So I'd filled all these cell trays up, sowed the onions, put them in the propagator, or so I thought. I got to admit, I was disappointed when I looked at the propagator and none had germinated. But when I looked back over the footage, I didn't actually sow any onions in those seed trays. So they've been lovely, and that soil's been lovely and warm in the hotbed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks plus, and that's why there's no onions go up, because there's no seed in there. Right, my 5 victims for this one is, first of all, I'm going to have nominate Rich T. He's got a lovely allotment he's setting up there. He's up in the bottom end of the Yorkshire Dales. A lovely setting on the hillside, and that, great. Secondly, it's nice to see him back. It's Andy 160676. He's thankfully putting his videos back up again. He's got some great gardening techniques, and he's gone through a bit of a rough patch, personal issues recently, but it's nice to see him back on the scene again on YouTube. So that's Andy. Next one up is Becky's Allotment. Becky's just took on another plot, a bigger plot now, and she's in South Wales, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of stuff growing on there well this year. So that's Becky's Allotment. Another one which you don't see around much on our channels at the much is one called The Enduring Gardener. It's a guy named Dan. I first bumped into Dan at Gardener's World last year, and we had a chat, and we've got in touch. We look at each other's videos. But Dan's got a lovely company who have built some fantastic greenhouses as well. But beside that, you're going to have a look at his channel, because he's quite a knowledgeable gardener and very thorough as well. And last but not least, it's a guide. This one's called Spencer's Nursery and Budgies. Now, there's a couple of reasons I'd like people to go over on this. First of all, it's a fairly new channel, but he's got his head screwed on. He's only a young lad, but he's obviously going in the right direction. He's nice to encourage young gardeners. So that's Spencer's Nursery and Budgies. I'll put links underneath at you know where it is, at the bottom of the text anyway. The sun's shining, I can't believe it, so no better time now to get starting the first early potatoes in some buckets. The Swift potatoes have now got some decent sized chits on them, so I'm going to start the process of putting these into some buckets and getting them underway. I should be sowing the tubers in these 30 litre buckets, 2 on the bottom layer, a bit more compost and 2 on the top layer. And the compost that I'll be using is the B&Q Verve multi-purpose with added 6X manure. I've got about 3 inches of the soil mix now into the bottom of the bucket, and I'll be putting the first 2 potatoes in. I always go diagonally opposite the handle, so for the first 2 that shall be going in like that. Add a bit more compost into the mix now, about another 2 or 3 inches on top. This compost is already pre-mixed with the 6x manure. I've mixed it in a separate tub, so that there is in pebble now. Just get another couple of tubers. This time go in line with the handle. Pop it down there, and that one there, and just put another 2 or 3 inches on top, then leave them. Just give these a good soaking in water now. I've got another 7 buckets of these to do, which they will eventually go outside. But for the next week or 2 they'll be remaining in the greenhouse. Well, it's just started raining, and luckily I've got another 7 buckets of these potatoes to do, so that'll keep me busy for the next hour or so, and I'll listen to a few podcasts along the way. That's about it for this one. In the next one I'll definitely be potting on some onions because they're growing quite fast now, and also I hope to get the strawberry bed refreshed and the new ones planted out. So until next time, see you later, bye for now.